Today we're going to do some heavy lifting. This is the third part of releasing unworthiness. I don't have any time to waste. I need to release this garbage as soon as possible. I get jealous when I see other people who can be confident without guilt. I get jealous for multiple reasons. I get especially jealous when I see when somebody can express themselves and receive attention. Yes, that's the core of it. I get jealous when somebody is in the process of doing it successfully, because then I might feel they can do it but I can't. But yeah, I feel jealous if I see somebody who can express themselves very well and they don't have any remorse, they don't have any guilt for it, they don't apologize for it. For example, when they are very confident and they don't apologize, or when they are prioritizing themselves and they get approval for it. This makes me most jealous because I want to do it as well. I want to have that for myself. So let's go now a bit to the structured approach. Jealousy is a consequence, not the cause. As I already said, jealousy shows you what you want. Jealousy is not your enemy. It shows you what you want to receive yourself. For example, in my case, somebody who is able to express themselves freely as they want to and who don't apologize for it, who prioritize themselves and get approval, who can be naturally confident in themselves and get praised for it. This is what makes me jealous, and this shows me that I want to be confident as well and get approval and approval and appraisal. Is that the right word? Appraisal? I don't know. And the second thing, when they can be powerful and have an impact on people, basically. So that means multiple things like being confident, being powerful, impacting people, being successful, for example, getting a lot of attention, positive attention, views, appraisal, approval, being creative in their unique way and getting approval for that, performing well and getting positive attention. So all the points I listed now are exactly where I feel guilty when it happens to me. That's why I was subconsciously preventing it from happening to me. This was a survival strategy that I learned in the past because attention in the past was dangerous. If I got attention, I got attacked and it was not safe. So let's go through the list. So I want to release that. This is the real purpose of this session. It is releasing that life. And that means the priority is not giving a concise speech or anything. The priority is really dirty, emotional work. So we're going to do that right now. Being vulnerable and healing the wounds. So in the past I was feeling, let's start with the first one. Or let's start in the present moment, because I notice it in the present as well. When I'm getting confident, I sometimes observe myself that I am doing things to appear less confident because, for example, I would put disclaimers in my speech, or I will put relativating. No, I don't know. Is that the correct word? Relativizing. When you when you weaken something. So I would weaken my speech deliberately to not sound too confident. For example, I put more maybe or stuff like that into my sentences. Or I would change my speech that it doesn't sound too confident, but it sounds more lovely, let's say, or yes, lovely, likable, maybe. Likable, yes, likable, lovely. So, and why am I doing that? Because deep down I was feeling guilty when I became confident around other people, because in the past I learned that when I'm confident, I am selfish, I'm taking too much space for myself, but I learned that I need always to make myself small so that other people don't feel threatened by me and other people have all the room in the world to express themselves. But that's a thing of the past now. Now I'll take space. I speak confidently, without effort, naturally. I just speak as confidently as I feel, without forcing anything, but also without holding anything back. So if confidence expresses through me and I'm feeling very confident in myself, I'm not going to weaken it anymore in order to not surprise or scare other people. I'm not going to reduce my confidence nor my power in order to not to scare other people. All right, that's great. Let's move on to the next thing. Guilty for being too powerful. This is a big one. Guilty of being too powerful, or this is basically about feeling guilty when I get too much control over a situation. In the past, I was feeling guilty whenever I was the center of attention, for example, or when I was in control of the situation with multiple people, when I was a leader in a leadership position. This was dangerous in the past because I was distorted. That quality of leadership and power and presence was distorted. I learned that I shouldn't be too dominant. I shouldn't be in control of situations. I shouldn't be too dominant because that's again selfish. I in the past I thought that's selfish because I don't let other people express themselves, or I don't let other people their own decisions if I'm controlling the situation. But controlling the situation, doesn't mean that you let nobody express themselves. You can use your power for good as well. And also importantly, I've taken back myself for so long that if I go a bit over the top, it would not be a big deal. I would recalibrate myself back to the right level, so to say. So this was something of the past. I felt guilty for being for being the center of attention, for controlling situations, or for being dominant. And now I'm exploring that a bit more without shame, without apology. Because I'm not going to suppress a part or an aspect of myself just to not offend anybody. I will express all my aspects in a healthy and natural way. Yeah, that's about that. Let's move on to the next point. Feeling guilty for being too successful. Yes, in the past I have constantly discredited myself. I've constantly underplayed my achievements. I've constantly talked less about myself than I am. Why? Because again, in the past I had the belief that being too successful is also selfish, because yeah, you steal again other people's the show for other people. Yeah, but it follows the same logic as the 2 points before. I'm not going to suppress my gifts and my talents any longer. Why? Because it would be a dire waste, and this is not what you should be doing with talents and gifts and everything. You should cultivate them and you should express them to the fullest potential in order to create something beautiful of it, and everything else would make no sense. Everything else is just wasted potential, and I'm no longer willing to waste my potential just to not offend anybody. I'm going to express my full potential, period. The next thing is feeling guilty for being too creative or unique. Yes, in the past I was suppressing my unique side, maybe when I had some unconventional ideas, I didn't share them, or when I had some insights, I didn't share them, or when I just wanted to play with spiritual concepts like angels and channeling light messages from angels and entities and everything. Then in the past I felt like I cannot share that too much because I might completely steal the show for other people. If I'm talking something creative or funny or unique, it might draw other people's attention, and I felt guilty for receiving too much attention, so I didn't share those thoughts. But that again is now a thing of the past. Now I'm no longer to hold it back. If I'm feeling like, for example, talking about Archangel Michael or something like that, I'm going to do it. If I feel like I have some spiritual wisdom, I'm going to share it. If I feel like I want to give a motivational speech, I'm going to do it. If I feel like I just want to play a character or a role, I'm also going to play around with that. And if I want to do a unique approach to YouTube, I'm also doing that, and everything without feeling guilty, and everything without apology. That's what I'm going to do from now on, in fact. And this goes further when I want to talk about some new system idea, for example, for an improved money system, or for example, for improved concept for civilization, then I'm also going to do that. I'm also, if I want to talk about big topics, I am also going to do that. Not because I think I know best necessarily, even though sometimes I think I do, but just because I feel that I have something unique to bring to the table, some unique perspective to bring to the table. And if I feel like I have some unique perspective to bring to the table, I'm going to do it from now on, if I feel like it, without feeling guilty. In the past, I was feeling guilty when I performed too well. When I'm earning a lot of money, I don't make a big deal of it. When I'm having good grades, I was not making a big deal of it. When I got a university degree, I didn't make a big deal of it. When I got a lot of social attention, I was trying to withdraw so that other people don't get triggered, that other people don't get jealous. But that's also a thing of the past. From now on, I'm going to perform to my fullest without feeling any guilt. And last point, feeling guilty for receiving too much positive attention. I've kind of addressed that in the previous point, but let's use this point to examine if I would be feeling deserving of a lot of YouTube views, for example. So I'm going to imagine myself, let's say, getting 1000 views on this video. Would it feel justified for myself? Would I feel comfortable with that? So let's imagine it now. What's my first reaction when I imagine this video will get 1000 views, let's say in 48 hours? What's my feeling? Is it positive or is it negative? Is it feeling normal or is it feeling dangerous? Let's see. Because right now I'm not feeling anything. So let's see. Actually, I feel like it would be totally justified because this is something very unique. I know that I have a lot to offer. I know that I have unique perspectives. I know that I have unique approaches. And I know that this is deserving of attention. Right now I was doubting a bit if it is deserving of a lot of attention or not. I was doubting myself if I am overestimating myself. So let's just see, how would I feel if this video gets 1000 views? Because it doesn't matter if I deserve it objectively or not. I mean, I could be sitting here and spinning my thumbs or just not saying anything and still get 10,000 views. So let's just examine the feeling that comes up when I am imagining this will get 10,000 views. What am I feeling? It would actually make a lot of sense because in my head I would think, yeah, that's my unique approach. That's my unique way of speaking. And that's why a lot of people tuned in. That's my authenticity and my unique approach that got so many views. So it would feel justified and deserving. So actually, I don't think I have a subconscious block to receiving many views. Actually, yes, one of my shorts already received over 1,000 views. And what did I feel there? Well, actually, it felt completely normal there when it happened. It was not a big surprise. So maybe, yeah, so it seems like I don't have a feeling guilty when receiving too much positive attention on YouTube, at least. But in real life, around other people, definitely I had that not long ago, but also now not as much anymore. But on YouTube, so how did it feel when I had 11 views, which is, or another video has over 40 or 50 views, or one of my videos has 70 views, and I didn't feel any feeling of undeservingness. I didn't feel any feeling of unworthiness. So that's totally not the issue. I think the wound is more about, or the subconscious block was more about keeping a stable performance. This was more like let's put it this way. The wound was not about that I don't feel I deserve it. The wound was that I don't feel like I deserve it when I'm just being myself without trying hard. Yes, that's what it is actually. I didn't have any resistance to getting a lot of views on individual videos because I could justify that by, yes, I did a really great job in that video, so that's why it got more views. But that's more the issue. How would I feel when I'm not, I felt like I'm not performing well and then I get a lot of views? Would that make me feel unworthy or undeserving? Let's feel into that. For example, my previous video where I really only stuttered for half an hour basically. So if I got like 10k views on that video, how would it make me feel? Well, I would get very excited. I would get really excited because it would mean I could be more like myself from now on, and people like that more. So it would be very exciting. So I don't think I have a feeling of unworthiness for receiving a lot of attention on YouTube at least. But what is it then? What is it? I think it has something to do, yes, with the feeling of having to perform at a constant level or at a certain level, or that I'm unworthy if I have a drop in performance. Yes, I think that's the critical thing. The drop in performance or the unstable. Yes, I feel the wound is, I feel like my being is alone is not stable to form relationship. I have to perform at a certain level to form relationship, to be deserving of relationship. So now I'm going to drop that, and the hardest thing is to get to know what your wound is, and then once you know it, it's more easy to drop it. Okay, so the wound is, I feel like I'm not deserving of relationship just for the one who I am naturally. I feel like I have to perform to be worthy of relationship, and that's what I'm dropping now. And how do I drop it? I drop it by, first of all, by saying I drop it, and then feel that it has dropped, if it has dropped. And I'm going to reformulate it in that way that now I will believe that people like me actually more if I am myself with some mistakes or flaws. Yes, people will actually like it better if I'm my natural self with some mistakes and flaws. So that really is a huge relief because I don't have to stress so much about being perfect. So this helped me a lot, and I'm going to apply that in my future videos. I'm going to record from a place of relaxation because I know that people like it best if I am as much as possible myself as much as possible. People like it the best of the best. People like it the best of the best. And if I make mistakes, no, actually the truth is I can't make mistakes if I am authentic, because I can't make mistakes. Mistakes are just happy little accidents anyway. So from now on I will go into videos with a more relaxed attitude because I know people will like it best if I show myself for who I really am and not pretending who I am going to be. And also the self-concept challenge I'm doing, it's not about pretending, it's about choosing, but only what you believe is true. This way it's not pretending, it's recognizing. Yes. So I think this is a good place to wrap it up. I have again released a lot of unworthiness in part 3, and my most critical one, most importantly, or the most critical ones, which are feeling guilty for being too confident, feeling guilty for being too powerful, dominant and feeling guilty for receiving too much positive attention, also as a consequence of being too successful or sharing my unique ideas or performing too well in a certain situation. And all of that I am no longer holding back now, because that would just be a waste of time. I'm not going to hold that back just to not make anybody jealous, because that would be a terrible waste of potential, and I don't like wasting potential. That's why I'm not going to do it any longer. See you next time. Bye bye.